Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the wild, controversial world of Porky's, the 1981 teen comedy that became a cultural phenomenon. While the film was a box office sensation, it sparked intense debates among critics and audiences alike. You might think you know everything about this iconic film, from its locker room antics to the infamous shower scene, but there's more to this cult classic than meets the eye. In this video, we'll uncover some hidden secrets about Porky's, starting with the fascinating fact that director Bob Clark drew inspiration for the film's characters from his own experiences. Porky's is a 1981 comedy classic written and directed by Bob Clark. Set in 1954, Porky's follows a group of high school boys from Angel Beach High in Florida, all determined to lose their virginity, featuring a talented cast that includes Kim Cattrall, Scott Colombie, Cocky Hunter, Nancy Parsons, Alex Karras, and Susan Clark. The 1950s, often romanticized as an era of simplicity and traditional values, also witnessed significant cultural undercurrents that laid the groundwork for later social revolutions. Porky's captures this tension, juxtaposing the innocence of post-war Americana with the burgeoning curiosity of teenage rebellion. The film's bold exploration of taboo topics like sexuality and peer dynamics reflects a daring departure from the conservative norms of its depicted era. By embedding its humor in this cultural dichotomy, Porky's not only entertains but also provokes conversations about the changing attitudes toward identity and freedom that would define the following decades. A trailblazer in the teen comedy genre, Porky's inspired countless filmmakers and led to two sequels, Porky's the Sudden the Next Day, 1983, and Porky's Revenge, 1985. Additionally, a low-budget production titled Porky's Pimpin' Pee-wee was released in 2009 as an ashcan copy to retain copyright rights. Their misadventures lead them to Porky's, a strip club located in the Everglades, where they hope to hire a prostitute. However, things go awry when Porky, the club's owner, tricks them, takes their money, and humiliates them by dumping them into a swamp. When the boys demand their money back, Porky's brother, the local sheriff, further embarrasses them by extorting the rest of their money and driving them away. The stakes escalate when one of the boys, Mickey, returns to Porky's for revenge but ends up brutally beaten and hospitalized. Fueled by anger, the group devises an elaborate plan to take down Porky and his brother, culminating in the destruction of Porky's establishment, which sinks into the swamp. As Porky and his gang, joined by the sheriff, chase the boys across county lines, they find themselves out of their jurisdiction. There, the local police, including Mickey's older brother Ted, intervene. Ted repeatedly damages Porky's car and promises to drop charges if the night's events are forgiven. With the boys' underage status as leverage, Porky and his brother are forced to agree. A subplot involves the boys spying on the girls in the locker room showers. Their antics escalate when Tommy sticks his tongue and later his private part through a peephole, only to have female coach Beulah Balbricker grab hold of him. Determined to identify the culprit, Balbricker proposes a lineup of the boys in the nude, a suggestion that Principal Carter hilariously dismisses. In a climactic moment, Balbricker attempts to expose Tommy in public, but is dragged away screaming about her ability to identify the offending member, leaving the audience in stitches as Tommy breaks the fourth wall with a comical "geez." Coach Brackett's unexpected romance with Coach Lynn Honeywell, nicknamed Lassie for her infamous howling during moments of passion, remains one of the most talked about subplots in Porky's. The pivotal scene set in the school's equipment room takes a comedic turn when Brackett unwittingly discovers the truth behind Honeywell's nickname. her howling loud and canine-like echoes through the halls, leaving students and faculty in hysterics. The sequence is a masterclass in physical comedy, and the reactions of the cast, including the exasperated Coach Goodenough and the furious Coach Balbricker, amplify its absurdity. Fans of the film have often hailed this scene as one of its most iconic moments, sparking debates on forums and social media about its comedic brilliance. Memes, GIFs, and even parody videos have kept the Lassie moment alive in pop culture, proving its lasting appeal. Some fans joke that Lynn Honeywell's howls were the soundtrack of their teenage rebellion, while others praise the scene for pushing the boundaries of humor without being overly explicit. Media coverage at the time of release was equally polarized. While critics called the scene juvenile, audiences celebrated its audacity and originality. Years later, during a cast reunion panel, actress Kim Cattrall, who portrayed Lynn Honeywell, revealed that the howling scene required multiple takes due to the uncontrollable laughter on set. She shared how director Bob Clark insisted on keeping the scene lighthearted and over the top, perfectly capturing the essence of the film's chaotic humor. The fallout within the storyline, which sees Brackett and Honeywell fired, adds yet another layer of absurdity. While their dismissal could be seen as a critique of institutional rigidity, it primarily serves to underline the film's carefree, anarchic spirit. For fans, this subplot exemplifies what makes Porky so memorable: its ability to find humor in even the most outrageous situations. The Lassie subplot is a testament to the film's lasting ability to entertain, evoke laughter, and spark conversation decades after its release. This blend of raunchy comedy, teenage mischief, and over-the-top antics cemented Porky's as a controversial yet iconic entry in the teen comedy genre. One of the most captivating aspects of Porky's is how its humor serves as a vehicle to explore the coming-of-age experiences of its main characters. Pee-wee, often portrayed as the group's comedic relief, hides his insecurities behind his exaggerated antics, making him both endearing and relatable. Tommy's mischievous pranks and overconfidence mask his own struggles with self-identity, while Billy often acts as the voice of reason amidst the chaos, providing a grounding presence. These characters, while exaggerated for comedic effect, reflect real teenage dilemmas, seeking validation, grappling with peer pressure, and navigating first experiences of love and intimacy. The film's over-the-top humor doesn't just entertain, but also subtly mirrors the awkwardness and absurdity of adolescence, making it resonate with audiences across generations. Upon its release, Porky's became a cultural phenomenon and was the sixth highest-grossing film of 1982. While it initially received mostly positive reviews, opinions on the film have grown more divided over time, with some critics revisiting it through a more critical lens. Despite this, its influence on the teen comedy genre remains undeniable. The legacy of Porky's extends far beyond its initial release. The film is often credited with paving the way for modern teen comedies such as American Pie by normalizing a blend of raunchy humor and relatable coming-of-age experiences. While Porky's pushed boundaries in its depiction of teenage mischief, it also reflected changing societal attitudes toward discussions of adolescence, sexuality, and humor. The film's unapologetic approach sparked debates about what constitutes acceptable comedy, and its influence can still be seen in the bold humor of contemporary films. In recent years, Porky's has been reevaluated through the lens of modern cultural and ethical standards. While some argue that its humor has become outdated and problematic, others view it as a snapshot of a different era, offering insights into the societal norms of the 1980s. The film has sparked discussions about how far comedy can go before crossing the line, with critics debating whether Porky's remains a classic or serves as a cautionary tale for filmmakers exploring risque humor today. During Bob's teenage and college years, he closely identified with characters like Pee-wee, Billy, and Tommy. Many other characters were inspired by real-life friends and acquaintances from Clark's high school and college days. Director Bob Clark first conceived the idea for Porky's in 1972, drawing inspiration from his own high school experiences in Florida during the 1950s. The story is rooted in real-life events that took place at Boca Ciega High School, in Gulfport, and Fort Lauderdale High School in the early 1960s. The infamous venue, Porky's Hideaway, located in Oakland Park, Florida, also served as a key inspiration for the setting of the film. The film initially received an X rating from the Motion Picture Association of America due to its sexually suggestive content. To make it more commercially viable, significant edits were made to secure an R rating. Director Bob Clark once reflected on the challenges of making Porky's, noting that navigating the line between risque humor and outright censorship was no easy task. He described the editing process as a constant battle to preserve the comedic essence of the film while ensuring it could reach a wide audience. Similarly, cast members have fondly recalled the camaraderie on set. Kim Cattrall shared a humorous memory of her infamous Lassie scene, admitting that even seasoned crew members couldn't keep a straight face during filming. These behind-the-scenes anecdotes reveal a production atmosphere filled with laughter, collaboration, and a shared determination to push boundaries in comedy. In an interview, Mark Harrier, who played Billy in Porky's, shared details about a deleted scene that could have secured the film an X rating. He described a more explicit version of the infamous shower scene, where his character humorously puts his private part through a hole, with it protruding comically. The girls' exaggerated reactions, he explained, were akin to seeing a snake suddenly emerge from the ground. Despite its suggestive nature, Harrier emphasized that the scene was far from pornographic. Instead, it leaned into director Bob Clark's trademark humor, awkward, absurd, and self-deprecating, rather than overtly explicit. Fans of Porky's have long been curious about what was left on the cutting room floor, and Harrier's revelation stirred lively discussions on forums and social media. During filming, the actor playing Pee-wee, known for his mischievous and over-the-top antics, reportedly improvised a prank during the infamous swamp scene. While the cameras were rolling, he threw a live but harmless frog at his co-stars, leading to an unscripted reaction that had the cast and crew in stitches. The moment was so chaotic that the director considered including it in the final cut, but ultimately decided it was too distracting. Many viewers expressed amusement and curiosity about the scene, while others praised the decision to focus on humor rather than explicit content. Some speculated how the inclusion of such a moment might have altered the film's legacy, with debates even surfacing about its potential to overshadow the film's broader themes of camaraderie and rebellion. The media response to Harrier's comments further highlighted the lasting cultural impact of Porky's. Entertainment outlets revisited the film's production history, spotlighting Clark's unique comedic style and the fine line he walked between risque humor and outright controversy. For fans and critics alike, Harrier's anecdotes provided a fresh glimpse into the creative decisions that helped shape this iconic, albeit polarizing, teen comedy. The film Porky's initially faced the challenge of an X rating due to its risque humor and explicit content, a classification that would have significantly limited its audience. To ensure commercial success, the production team made several cuts, removing some of the more provocative scenes while striving to retain the comedic essence that defined the film. These changes ultimately helped the movie secure an R rating, making it accessible to a broader audience and paving the way for its box office success. Adding to the intrigue surrounding Porky's is the confusion about its release date. While some sources cite 1981, others insist on 1982. This discrepancy can be attributed to the film's staggered release strategy. Porky's premiered in a limited number of cities, including Colorado Springs and Columbia, on November 13, 1981. The early release was likely a strategic move to test audience reactions and generate buzz. It wasn't until March 19, 1982, that the film was given a wide release across North America, allowing it to reach a larger audience and ultimately become a box office sensation. Interestingly, this unconventional release strategy gave rise to urban legends among fans. Some claim that the early screenings featured scenes that were later cut to secure the R rating, sparking debates among film enthusiasts about what the uncut version might have included. These rumors have only added to the mystique of Porky's, fueling its legacy as a controversial yet beloved classic. Another fascinating aspect of Porky's release was how cultural perceptions varied across regions. In urban areas, the film was celebrated for its bold humor and irreverent take on adolescence, with critics applauding its willingness to push boundaries. Meanwhile, in more conservative regions, Porky's faced backlash, with community leaders and local critics condemning its risque content as morally questionable. In some cases, protests were organized outside theaters, which paradoxically generated even more interest in the film. These diverse reactions underscored Porky's unique position as a cultural litmus test, sparking conversations not just about comedy, but also about evolving societal norms in the early 1980s. The confusion surrounding its release date also led to unique reactions in different regions. Early viewers in select cities reportedly felt like they were part of an exclusive club, watching a film that had yet to take the nation by storm. When Porky's finally expanded to a wider audience in 1982, it became an instant cultural phenomenon, its humor striking a chord with teens and young adults eager for boundary-pushing comedy. Director Bob Clark once remarked in interviews that the staggered release was both a blessing and a curse. While it allowed the film to build word-of-mouth momentum, it also meant navigating logistical challenges, such as managing media coverage and addressing censorship concerns in different areas. For instance, in certain conservative regions, the film's risque humor sparked protests, with some local theaters hesitant to screen it. Yet, these controversies only heightened public curiosity, drawing larger crowds eager to see what all the fuss was about. This release strategy, coupled with the film's polarizing content, solidified Porky's as a trailblazer in the teen comedy genre. It not only pushed the boundaries of acceptable humor, but also demonstrated the power of strategic marketing and audience engagement. Even today, the debates about its rating and release date remain part of its enduring legacy, a testament to its impact on pop culture. Despite scathing reviews from critics, Porky's became a box office sensation. At the time of its release, Porky's was a divisive film that sparked strong reactions from both critics and audiences. While many critics dismissed it as crude and offensive, audiences connected with its raw humor and unapologetic portrayal of teenage mischief. In the years since, nostalgia has amplified its appeal, with fans revisiting the film as a snapshot of a more carefree era. Discussions on forums and social media highlight how Porky's continues to evoke laughter and serve as a reminder of the comedic boundaries filmmakers were willing to push in the early 1980s. For some, it remains a guilty pleasure. For others, a cult classic that shaped the teen comedy genre. Critics such as Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert criticized the film, describing it as crass and offensive. They particularly disapproved of its portrayal of women and the juvenile behavior of its male characters. However, audiences felt differently. The movie dominated the box office, holding the top spot for 8 consecutive weeks in 1982. It ultimately ranked as the 5th highest-grossing film in North America that year, surpassing titles like Poltergeist and Star Trek This Soon, The Wrath of Khan. With a budget of approximately $4 million, Porky's grossed over $15 million in North America alone. The film also gained significant notoriety in Ireland, where it initially faced resistance from censors. Banned on February 1, 1982, due to its risque humor and explicit content, the decision was met with mixed reactions. While conservative groups applauded the ban as a stand against declining moral standards, a significant portion of the public and media criticized it as an overreaction to a film that was, at its core, a comedic exploration of teenage mischief. The ban was overturned just 19 days later after heated debates and public outcry, with the censors ultimately determining that the film's humor was satirical rather than obscene. This reversal generated immense curiosity, drawing even larger crowds to cinemas upon its release. Reports suggest that Porky's became the first film to earn over £1 million at the Irish box office, cementing its place as a cultural phenomenon. Interestingly, financial pressures played a significant role in shaping the film's cast. Actress Kim Cattrall, who portrayed the unforgettable Lassie character, accepted her supporting role in the film primarily due to her need to pay rent at the time. Initially, Cattrall was hesitant about participating in a film with such risque content, fearing it might jeopardize her acting credibility. However, she was even more shocked when her name was prominently displayed on the movie poster, leading to immediate typecasting and intense scrutiny from the industry. Cattrall later admitted that many within Hollywood predicted the film would spell the end of her career. While Porky's elevated her visibility, it also presented challenges, as she struggled to secure serious roles in its aftermath. Her portrayal in the film, which leaned heavily into sexualized humor, became a defining image that she found difficult to shed. In interviews, Cattrall expressed mixed feelings about her involvement, acknowledging the film's success but lamenting the professional hurdles it created. Despite these challenges, her eventual career resurgence proved her talent and versatility could transcend early stereotypes, marking her journey as one of resilience and determination. In an interesting twist, a lesser-known production titled Porky's Pimpin' Pee-wee was released in 2009 as part of a strategic move to retain the legal rights for a potential remake of the original film. This low-budget project, created for under $1 million, exemplifies a tactic known in the film industry as an ashcan copy, which involves producing and releasing a minimal version of a project to prevent copyrights from expiring. The rights to Porky's had been transferred in 1994, and a production deal was established in 2001 with plans for a modern remake. However, financial setbacks and creative disagreements caused the project to stall indefinitely. As the copyright's expiration loomed closer, the producers made a last-minute effort to preserve the rights, resulting in Porky's Pimpin' Pee-wee. The film, initially titled Porky's The College Years, was hurriedly rebranded before its release. Remarkably, this obscure production can still be found on YouTube, offering curious fans an unusual continuation of the Porky's legacy. Though far removed from the charm and humor of the original, it serves as a fascinating footnote in the saga of the franchise's history. The tale of Porky's remake rights took another intriguing turn in 2002 when radio personality Howard Stern acquired the rights, expressing an avid interest in producing his own version of the film. Stern's vision was reportedly more irreverent and in tune with his brand of humor, sparking excitement among his fan base. However, this ambitious endeavor faced significant hurdles when two other production companies stepped forward, each claiming ownership of the Porky's rights. What followed was a contentious legal battle that dragged on for years, embroiling multiple stakeholders in a heated dispute over creative and financial control. The legal wrangling culminated in a confidential settlement in 2013. Although the specifics of the agreement remain undisclosed, it effectively shelved Stern's remake plans, leaving the future of a Porky's revival uncertain. For fans of the franchise, the protracted drama surrounding its rights is a testament to the lasting impact of the original film and its continued relevance in pop culture discussions. To this day, the prospect of a modernized Porky's remains tantalizing, albeit elusive, as filmmakers and rights holders grapple with the challenges of revisiting a cult classic in a vastly different era. Alex Karras, who played Sheriff Wallace, and Susan Clark, who portrayed Sherry, were married in real life and frequently collaborated professionally. Porky's marked their second joint project in 1982, following their earlier work on Nobody's Perfect in 1981. Set against the backdrop of teenage misadventures in Miami, Porky's showcased a cast and crew with deep creative connections. Director Bob Clark built lasting professional relationships with many of the cast members. For instance, Porky's was not his first project with actress Kim Cattrall. They had previously worked together on Tribute in 1980. The film became the second of 4 collaborations between Clark and Cattrall, which also included Turk 182 in 1985 and Baby Geniuses in 1999. Similarly, Dan Monahan, who played Pee-wee, reunited with Clark for Porky's the Second the Next Day in 1983, From the Hip in 1985-1987, and Baby Geniuses, which also featured Cattrall. Porky's launched a successful franchise with Clark directing its sequel, Porky's the Second the Next Day, in 1983. However, he chose not to helm the third installment, Porky's Revenge, in 1985. Remarkably, the franchise even extended into gaming, with an action-based Porky's video game released for the Atari 2600. In 1983, a video game loosely inspired by the 1981 film Porky's was released. Players take on the role of Pee-wee, tasked with demolishing Porky's bar. To achieve this, Pee-wee must collect explosives hidden in a shower room, which can only be accessed after navigating a hazardous 5-lane highway in a style reminiscent of Frogger. While retro gaming holds a nostalgic charm, particularly with classics like Space Invaders or Spy Hunter, this game doesn't look too bad and might be worth a try for fans of vintage gaming. Interestingly, the film itself was produced by the Canadian company Astral Films, making it a Canadian production, even though it was financed by the US-based Melvin Simon Productions, and filmed entirely in Florida. Porky's held the title of the highest-grossing Canadian film until 2010, when Resident Evil, Afterlife 3D, a Canadian-German co-production, overtook it with a worldwide box office gross of approximately $300 million. Additionally, a paperback novelization of Porky's, written by Ron Reynolds, was published in 1983. Novelizations of popular films were a notable trend during that era, providing fans with another way to engage with their favorite movies. This adaptation added another layer of cultural presence to a film that had already left a significant mark on its audience. That's a wrap on our deep dive into the fascinating history and legacy of Porky's. From its scandalous production stories to its unexpected box office success and enduring influence, this cult classic continues to stir conversations even decades later. Whether you love it or hate it, Porky's undeniably carved its place in the history of teen comedies. If you enjoyed this look behind the scenes, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more deep dives into cinematic classics. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the movies.